Welcome to the Daily Race. Hey, we are looking at the book of Micah. That's our next study here on the Daily Race, and just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of it, a little bit of what are we looking at here? What's the context of it? Before we jump into it, starting on tomorrow, Sunday. So here it is, Micah. Prophet, Old Testament prophet. We call him a minor prophet, not because he was small or unimportant, just his letter, his prophecies are short. It's only a few chapters long here. We're going to spend a week on it compared to like Isaiah, Jeremiah. We have so much writing from them. So first thing we want to talk about is when did he prophesy? When did he live? He lived during the 700s BC. The 700s BC, his contemporary, so Isaiah, was prophesying during this time. There were several kings that were his reign or his prophecy kind of was in their reigns. King Jotham, King Ahaz, King Hezekiah, and we have Ahaz, bad Ahaz and Jezebel, all of those accounts. We have Hezekiah whose heart turns to God and he asks for more time. So a good king, bad king, going through his reign. During the time of Micah, we also see that the northern tribes are taken into captivity and never heard from again. They're taken away by Assyria. There's a remnant that's left over, but then Assyria puts some other foreign people that they've captured and brings them to resettle there, which creates this mixed group of people that live in the northern part of Israel, which becomes the Samaritans. And that's why there's so much conflict between the Jews and the Samaritans, because they've kind of mixed a bunch of religious and cultural things together because of that exile that they went in. So that's the time and the place. It's an important point in history for Israel, for Judah, for the Jewish people, God's family. And the prophecies here are written as oracles. So they're written as statements. It's poetic language. So there's some symbolism here. There's some interpretation to be made. It's definitely prophetic. So as we're looking at this, there's a lot of interpretation. Some of the interpretation is for the immediate. Some of it's pointing to Christ, the Messiah. Some of it's pointing to his second return. So as we look through that, we're going to look through all of those different lenses. One of the major themes, and this is great coming after James and after Proverbs, is that God desires our actions to line up with him. He's like, that's great you're going to the temple. That's great you're making sacrifice. Actually doesn't say that. He's like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that if you're not doing what I told you to? If you're not taking care of the poor, if you don't have justice and mercy and these living out your beliefs, I don't want to see the sacrifices anymore. I don't. It's disgusting to me. And that's what God's telling them. So it's a call back to action, and the rhythm of it is pretty straightforward. It's a call to judgment. This is the case against you, but then God's forgiveness, judgment and forgiveness. We go through this cycle several times through the book of Micah. In some cases, it's like he's building a court case against the people, bringing the judgment. This is what's going to happen because you've done this. Here's God's standard. Here's what's going to happen. But God is merciful. God is forgiving. He's not going to forget you. So as we look through the account of Micah, one of the things, so what do we do with a book like this? Because it was written to a specific group of people that were messing up, that were falling away from God, that were rebelling against him. There was going to be judgment coming to them. We're not those people. So how do we take an account like this? Well, there are general principles that apply. God's heart towards action and living out his commands, not just going through the ritual of worship. That applies to us here today. We learn about the heart of God. What is important to God doesn't change. God is the same yesterday, today, forever. So we're going to look at those principles as we look through Micah. We look at the character of God. We learn more about what God is like. We can never fully know God, but we get these snapshots, these pictures that God is just. He has a perfect sense of justice, but he's also merciful and loving. And both of those things exist at the same time. And we're going to walk through that a little bit. So as we take some time to do this, just want to give you a little overview of Micah as we get ready to jump into that, and look forward to spending the next week walking through the book of Micah. Have a great rest of the day. Look forward to seeing you 24 hours from now. Well, a little bit less than that, depending on when you're watching this, back here on The Daily Race. Love you guys.